Brain fog is an imbalance between the chemicals in your brain, just like in a recipe when you're trying to cook a meal. If you've got too much chili, if you've got too much salt, it's going to make the meal taste crap. So if you've got too much of one certain chemical in your brain, it's not going to work properly, especially nowadays with so much dopamine available in social media addictions and food. Your brain is constantly fried and the chemicals are constantly stimulated in your brain. In order to learn one of the most valuable skills in today's day and age, which is being able to do deep work, you can't have brain fog. You can't have all these imbalanced chemicals. Think of the consequences of not being able to do the work you know you need to be doing. And you don't do it for days, years and months. And you spend 3 hours a day on your phone looking at social media. 3 hours a day over 10 years is a whole year of your life looking at a piece of glass and metal. So if you want to learn the most valuable skill in today's day and age, which is being able to do deep work, you can scroll down to the description and click the first link and join a free community of other people that I'm leading, teaching them how to make deep work a daily habit. We have a full course in there showing exactly step by step what you need to do. And you can even get my help one-on-one. We can hop on a Zoom call and do a full deep work session. You can get my help and create a personalized game plan for you where you can make deep work a daily habit. So if you want to join a free community, scroll down to the description and click the first link right now. Now we're going to go over the top tools for deep work. And the first is noise cancelling headphones. And noise is one of the distractions. If you've ever tried doing work in a cafe or a busy library where there's lots of little chatter that's just loud enough where you can't hear your own voice and you can't concentrate, it's so hard to do work. How much work have you done when you're in those sorts of environment? Probably not a lot. You're doing shallow work. If you want to get into deep work, you need to block out as many distractions, and noise is one of those distractions. It's going to distract you from getting into that focused work. So having earphones combined with binaural beats will enhance not just your focus but your motivation. Especially if you listen to 40 hertz binaural beats, has scientifically been shown to be the most effective for getting into that deep work state. So once you've got noise cancelling headphones, allowed yourself to block out as many distractions as possible, having as task management, what this allows you to do is break down the big project that you want to work on into the small tasks that you can complete today. So how do you write a book? Well, you need a bunch of chapters. How do you write the chapters? Well, you need paragraphs. You need sentences, and in sentences you have words, and in words you have letters. So writing a book, if you break it down, starts with writing letters. Write as many letters as you can and combine them to create a whole book. So if you want to complete a big project, you've got to break it down into what's the smallest task you can start with right now. Especially when we're doing deep work, breaking projects down into manageable steps helps you know exactly what you need to focus on and gets rid of all the overwhelm when you can just focus on doing these small tasks like writing a word, then writing a sentence. A whole book starts with writing a sentence. So you can use apps like To-Do List or Notion to organize tasks and prioritize deep work. Most people think they're doing deep work when they're doing everything but the main thing. Like for instance, for writing a book, you got to write words. But most people think, oh, I'm watching YouTube videos or I'm taking a course on how to write a book. So I must be doing deep work. If taking a course is going to help me write a book. No, writing a book will help you write a book. So focus on the deep work tasks. Now, time tracking software. This is what's been really helpful for me, being able to increase the amount of time I'm doing deep work, because what gets measured gets managed. If you're not tracking how much deep work time you do, you don't know how you can improve it, or even if you are doing it at all. So if you start tracking, you can start seeing, I'm only doing 1 hour a day. Well, I could be doing more than 1 hour a day. Start doing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours by tracking your deep work. So tools like Toggl or Rescue Time will help you track the amount of time that you spend doing deep work and time that you spend doing shallow work. And then once you start tracking how much time you do on doing deep work, you can start analyzing the data. This day I did this amount of time. This day I did that. What were the difference between those 2 days? And you can start to see, oh, I did exercise on that day, or I ate a special diet on that day, or I got 9 hours sleep on that day. You can start to see differences where these days you do these certain tasks that help you get into deep work, whereas these days you're doing these other tasks that are preventing you from doing deep work. So you can start to analyze yourself like a professional athlete. Then you need distraction blockers, and the best distraction blockers are usually softwares to remove any distraction, creating an environment where distractions are at a minimum so we can increase our baseline level of focus. So apps like Freedom or desktop app versions of software like this Notion that I'm using at the moment. I've got the desktop app, not just the Chrome app. So when you've got the desktop app, they're getting rid of all those distractions where you haven't got to instantly be able to open a new tab and go straight onto the internet. Because it's downloaded onto your desktop, there's no access to the internet. And so that helps me stay productive, where I've gotten rid of so many distractions and I can just focus on getting the work done. Then you've also got to have digital note-taking tools. So when you're doing deep work, thoughts will come up during your sessions. These are open loops where you've thought of something but you haven't completed it. And so it's going to come back into your mind of, I've got to do it. If you don't close the loop, it's going to be there forever, and it's going to be constantly open loop. So what you want to do is close the loop, and we can do that by having one place to keep all your to-do lists and ideas for easy access. And so I use apps like Notion as a second brain for myself. So I'll have it open. I can just if I think of an idea, I'll just write it in my to-do list or my idea list. And so that closes the loop. It won't come back up into my mind when I'm doing deep work, and it won't distract me. And so having a place where you can organize your thoughts of ideas that you come up with and tasks that you got to do makes it so much easier for yourself when you think of the task and it becomes an open loop and it doesn't shut off. You got to shut it off with putting it onto the list. Now you're probably thinking right now, well, I can't stay focused for long periods of time. Well, if you use apps that track your time, you can start with small amounts of time. You can start with just doing 30 minutes of deep work, but at least you know you're doing 30 minutes of deep work. Then you can start tracking that number and you can start improving it. By tracking the number, it builds awareness. Like if you think about actually trying to help people lose weight, what happens if you start weighing them every single day? They start to become aware of their weight, and they can start to see what behaviors increase their weight and what behaviors reduce their weight. So if you start tracking your deep work hours, you can start seeing what behaviors increase your hours and what behaviors decrease your hours. And you can start to see these patterns. And if you think, well, I get easily distracted, well, you can implement distraction blockers, adding Chrome extensions or using desktop app versions of software to create a focused environment and minimize as many distractions as possible. So what we want to do is increase our baseline level of focus. We do that by removing as many distractions as possible. So your action plan for this video is to invest in noise cancelling headphones. If you don't have them, you can buy loop earplugs for about $30, which you can also use when you're going to sleep to remove much noise as possible. And you can also use AirPods, and I listen to binaural beats, about 40 hertz binaural beats. It allows me to get into that deep focus work. Download and set up any task management apps like Todoist, Trello, or Notion, which allow you to break that big project down into smaller tasks you can do right now. Like if you want to write a book, start with writing a word. If you want to complete a project, think about what's the smallest action you can do right now. And then install time tracking software like Toggl or Rest Your Time and start measuring and tracking how much deep work you do every day. Use the distraction blockers like Freedom or Cold Turkey. They're apps that you can block out the internet, and you can really focus on the one thing that you need to be pushing yourself forward and prioritizing at the moment, which is the big task you should be doing during deep work. Organize your digital notes. Make sure you've got, using apps like Notion or Evernote where you're just writing down your ideas list and your to-do list. So when thoughts come up, you put them straight onto those lists. And arrange your physical workspace to make sure it's free of distractions, as many distractions as possible. No phone, no books, no clothes, just whatever you need to get the work done, nothing else. So if you want to join a community of other people making deep work a daily habit, you can scroll down to the description and click the first link, and you can get my help one-on-one where I'll help you make 3 hours of deep work a daily habit, and you can learn one of the most valuable skills in today's day and age, which is being able to do deep focused work. So if you want that, scroll down to the description and click the first link right now.